I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Mary Kissel, my colleague and co-host and friend of the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal and the host of Opinion Journal each day, WSJ Live. And Mary, we are going to take a cruise off the coast of Alaska. It's stormy weather, and we're tossing a little bit, and we're going to immediately connect to someone who can tell us what it's like to be tossed on a cruise with the National Review Online. This is Jillian K. Melchior. Jillian, a very good evening to you. You are on a ship. I understand the name is something like Westerdam, and it's stormy weather. Is that all accurate? Right. Tell us what's stormy.
Yeah, we're sitting out in the middle of the Pacific coast off of Alaska, and it's pretty stormy and rocky out, and I've got seasickness bands on my arms, but having a great time.
Perfect. I'm glad I'm here.
I'm very glad that I'm here. As a Floridian, John, generally speaking, I'm glad I'm far, far away from Alaska.
All right, so we will go immediately, so we don't think about being discomfited. All right, we'll go immediately to the subject at hand, which is your wonderful piece, Jillian, in the NRO. We can read it right now, about something, I believe that it's called the Trump Enterprise or Entrepreneur Institute, the Trump Institute. What is it, Jillian?
So it is a illegal for-profit university that Donald Trump was running in New York between 2005 and 2011. Department of Education repeatedly warned him that he was operating a university without the proper licensing. And there are now two lawsuits, one in New York, one in California, alleging that through this Trump University, Trump Entrepreneur Initiative, he was basically scamming students, up to 5,000 of them, charging them as much as $35,000 for courses that allegedly did not benefit them.
So, Jillian, what was the point of this education? To land on The Apprentice, to be able to say, you're fired in a really convincing voice? What were these students supposed to be learning?
Well, they were promised that they were going to learn all of Donald Trump's signature techniques for real estate deals. They were essentially going to get to graduate from this and become miniature Donald Trumps. But in reality, according to the two complaints that have been filed against him, the classes were taught by many instructors, some of which had gone bankrupt on real estate deals. Students were promised that they would know everything that they needed to know after buying a 3-day course. Then were high pressured into buying a much more expensive course, $35,000. University, and I put that in quotation, salesmen were essentially giving out handouts for how to call and negotiate with your credit card company to charge the entire $35,000 on the spot, the complaints alleged. And then on top of that, a lot of students were told that, Donald Trump had just left, or that he was in town, or that he might drop by. So they were allegedly given an impression that he had a very close relationship to this program, when in reality, they just got to take a picture of a cardboard cutout Donald Trump. So one of the complaints that I read, they said they were willing to pay that high price because they had, quote, faith in Donald Trump. We thought this was his program. We thought we'd be learning to do real estate deals from his people who learned his techniques. We realized that Trump was not teaching us how to find needles in a haystack, and we concluded that we'd paid over $20,000 for nothing, based on our belief in Donald Trump and the promises he made.
My favorite is that cardboard Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful.
And in fact, Trump Enterprises, please make that available on eBay or Amazon. Everybody wants one.
Wouldn't you like one, John?
In the corner, we could turn and talk to it while we're here in studio. Now, Jillian, I, at first, when I read this, thought the whole thing was either a send-up or a scam in which Mr. Trump's name was used incorrectly, that it was possible that this was a scam of the Trump Enterprises itself, until, and I didn't doubt you, Jillian, it was just possible that his name was being used, a front in some fashion, and the lawsuit will discover all that, until the disclosure forms to the Federal Election Committee. Bloomberg started working through them 24 hours ago. I believe everybody, the journal's been working through them to learn the amazing world of Donald Trump. And there, Jillian, was the Trump Institute listed, and I think I read it correctly that he's a 100% owner. Is that correct, Jillian?
Yeah, he's definitely got a big stake in it. I mean, the disclosures suggest that he made at least $11,000 personally for his work at Trump University, but we don't really know because the financial disclosures say the value of Trump Entrepreneur Initiative is not readily ascertainable right now. What's also interesting is last October, a New York trial court judge ruled that Donald Trump personally was liable for restitution for all of these students because he'd been warned several times you can't operate in New York unless you have the proper licensure, and that had been ignored.
But this supposedly went on for years, Jillian. I mean, how many warnings did the regulators give him, and where were these regulators? If it were such a big problem, why didn't they just shut them down after the first year or the first 2 years?
I think that's a fantastic question. I actually, wanted to know how many warnings. I wasn't able to find that out. But I think, too, an interesting question that I don't have an answer to is if Schneiderman is going after Trump this aggressively.
Schneiderman is the Attorney General of New York who has ambitions. Please, I just wanted to identify Schneiderman. Please continue, Jillian.
Yeah, if he's going this aggressively after Trump for a civil fraud suit, I would be interested to know why there's also not a criminal suit accompanying it.
Well, I want to know why Schneiderman, a Democrat, would go after Trump at all. Trump is the gift that keeps on giving to the Democratic Party. But I suppose that's an aside, John.
He used to be a Democrat until 2009. Now he's a very prominent candidate for the Republican nomination for the presidency. And that makes everything about Donald Trump in the news. The puzzle here, Jillian,
even before he filed his financial disclosure.
These people were fooled, deceived, robbed. Yes, isn't that what we're dealing with? We're dealing with deception, fraud. The Better Business Bureau is in business for this. And so all of these complaints, are they before the public? Or this is the first I've ever heard of it. Is this widely reported?
It's been covered in the local press to some extent, but I think it takes on a new poignancy with Donald Trump running for president. I mean, the allegations are that these are students who really wanted to learn, wanted to have an opportunity, wanted to engage in entrepreneurship, wanted to take a calculated risk and make the market work for them. They weren't people who essentially wanted to feed off the system. They wanted to learn how to engage in capitalism productively on their own. And the allegation is that Donald Trump and Trump University very cynically took advantage of them for profit.
Well, given my experience in the New York real estate market, John, isn't it plausible that actually Donald Trump gave them the best possible education?
The best
in how the property market in New York actually works.
Right, and the best lesson in being scammed. The best.
Yeah, it happens every day, all the time.
And Jillian, if I remember correctly, you get into the room and then immediately there are bonuses offered to you for more money so that you can continue to buy all the way through your experience with Trump Institute. Is that correct? And all those purchases, all those purchases promise a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and there is no pot of gold. There's just a cardboard Trump.
That's right. So there was a lot of advertising that went into this. People would, get a letter from Donald Trump, see a Subway ad. They'd get direct mail, email campaign advertising a 90-minute free seminar that would reveal Trump's real estate investing secrets with hand-picked instructors, supposedly teaching tricks that took, quote, Donald Trump's entire career to develop. They'd get 2 free VIP tickets to the event.
I wonder if folks who bought that deserve to be snookered.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well,
Jillian, that is fair. We're dealing with strange behavior, all sort of starry-eyed about Trump. Is that it? Is that who they're like? Are these mom and pop America who've never we lost her.
I know what that is. Noise, yeah.
No, I'm here.
All right.
She's still
I'm still here.
Are we dealing with mom and pop America, or are these looking like sophisticated consumers?
I think it's a lot of people that just, they see Trump as an American success story, for better or for worse. So they get this 90-minute seminar. They figure they're going to check it out. At that 90-minute free seminar, they get upsold to a $1,495 3-day conference. At that, they get pressured into a $35,000 Gold Elite conference, which is supposed to include special training, mentorship. So you can kind of see how, they might think about this as something that's going to be helpful. And I will note that in reporting this story, I did talk to a couple individuals who said that they in fact did find it helpful. But those are a few of them. I think, 5,000 people alleging that this is a complete and total scam, that they learned nothing of use, and that this was just celebrity power taking advantage of people who wanted a legitimate education, particularly since he was operating without a legal license in New York, raises some serious concerns about, I guess, how he treats people.
Or they weren't forced into these courses. They liked it. They continued to pay. And when the class action lawyers approached them, they thought, Donald Trump, that's something of a payday.
Deep pocket, yes. Jillian K. Melchior of the National Review Online is at sea off the coast of Alaska. I know you're going to have to accept our word for it. I understand. I can't actually make the storm sound worse in the background. We thank her very much. And Mary, I mentioned that Donald Trump is very good at convincing people to part with their money in order to be associated with Donald Trump. Sounds a lot like the Republican Party, doesn't it? I just mentioned that he is a good salesman.
He is, absolutely. If you go to the Trump Towers on the west side of Manhattan, pretty low ceilings, John. Pretty small spaces, pretty high prices.
Was that a real Donald Trump at El Paso today watching the border closing? Or was it the
fake Donald? Was it the cardboard Donald Trump?
We are not sure anymore. We're going to have to check. Mary Kissel, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal, will be serious about Donald Trump another week. This was too much fun. I'm John Batchelor.